Hello, and welcome back to episode 3 of Highway to PowerShell, a series where we cover a few minutes of PowerShell every week. In the last episode, we looked at PowerShell objects and how they are displayed on the screen. Today, we're going to look at how we can filter, sort, and select those objects. Let's open a terminal. Episode 2 was all about how we can send objects from one command to another. This is called a pipeline. PowerShell comes with a few generic commands for working with any kind of object in a pipeline. We're going to start with a command for filtering. But before we do that, I have a little tip. Whenever I want to get anything with PowerShell, I always try to think about filter left. This means that I should always filter as early as possible in my pipeline. If I can filter the result directly on the get command, that is the way to go. If I need to further narrow down the result from a get command, I can do that by using the command whereObject. Let's look at an example. In my current folder, I have 100 files named from file 1 to file 100, all of them with various size and last write time. If I want to filter these files on name, I can easily do this by using the path parameter on getChildItem. Let's, for instance, filter on any file that ends with a 1.txt. As by the filter left rule, if I can filter in my get command, I should do so. But what if I want to filter by last write time? Since getChildItem don't have a parameter for this, I need to use the generic command whereObject. There are two ways of using whereObject. The easiest way, and the way I prefer to do it, is by using the parameters property and value like this. In this example, whereObject will look at each object that is passed down the pipeline and check if the property last write time is greater than the value of April 1st, 2021. Since the parameters property and value are so-called positional parameters, we can simplify the command by just using the parameter values, like this. These two commands will give the exact same result. As you probably understood by now, -gt means greater than. In PowerShell, we have a number of comparison operators. These are operators that we can use to compare objects. The most common one used mainly for numbers are greater than, lesser than, greater than or equal, and lesser than or equal. We also have equal and not equal, which can be used for both numbers and text. And then we have like, that is used to compare text. If you want to list all of them and learn more about them, I suggest you look at the help document called About Comparison Operators, either by running help comparison like this, or by following the link in the description below. If you don't find any help document, you'll probably need to update your help documents by running update help. But let's get back to whereObject. I said there are two ways to use it. The other way is using the filter parameter like this. Just as before, the filter script parameter is a positional parameter, so we don't need to write out the parameter name. We can shorten it like this. The filter script is actually a script that will run once for each object being passed down the pipeline. $_ is an automatic variable that represents the current object in the pipeline. There's also another automatic variable called $PSItem, and that works just the same as $_, so you can choose to use either or. Once I filter the output, I can use sortObject to sort the order of the object. Let's add another pipe and sort the files by property length. Here I'm taking advantage of what is called natural line breaks. If I add a new line after, for example, a pipe or a comma, PowerShell will know to expect more and let me continue on the next line. This way, I avoid having to scroll horizontally and the code is a bit easier to read. This returns all the files ordered by size with the smallest first. If I want to sort the list the other way, I can add a parameter descending like this. Now when we have a set of objects that we're happy with and they're sorted in the right order, it's time to look at how much information we want to keep on each object. Just like we talked about in the last episode, we can use getMember to investigate which type of objects we're getting and to see which property each type contains. Let's try it. So this shows us that we're getting objects of type me scroll up here, system.io.fileinfo. And that we have a long list of methods and properties. First, let's choose to keep only the base name, extension, and last write time. We can do this by using the command select object. This gives us a table with each property in its own column. Select object also has a parameter called expand property, which only takes one property name. Instead of returning an object that only has the selected properties left, this will return just the value of a single property. The difference maybe doesn't sound that big, but there is a very important difference. Let's try them both. So get child item just as before, and then we do where object, and this time we sort on length descending and just select the property base name. If we do the same thing, but in the last line here, we select the property and expand the base name. We can see that in this first example, we get a header here, and then we get the names. And in the second example, we only get the names. So this means that in the first example, we're getting objects that each has one property. And in the second example, we're just getting the content or the value of that property. Very important distinction. So to recap, first we get as small set of objects as possible. Then we can filter them further by letting where object throw away any object that doesn't match our filter. Once we're happy with a filtered set, we can use sort object to determine the output order. And last but not least, we can use select object to select how much of each object we want to keep. Remember to take notice of the difference between the parameter property and expand property. Property chooses which properties to keep, and expand property chooses one property and returns only the value of that property. I hope this has been an interesting episode. To not miss the next episode, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep automating.